Hello there, internet. Hasn't been that long, really, since I've done this sort of intro, but it feels weird already. Because now I'm on the whole, oh, snap, which is also, quite cringy in its own right. But yeah, I've gotten quite used to that. Yeah, hello, everybody. This is a bit of a different video as what you usually see on this channel, and that is an update video, aka a video in which we have a bit of a conversation. One-sided conversation at that, really, because that's just me talking in front of the camera. But, it's better than nothing, I guess. I haven't done one of these videos in a very long time. And I don't know how it'll be. Hopefully it won't be too rambly, right? But there is a few things that I want to kind of like update you guys on regarding the channel. And more than anything, I just want to clarify certain things with this video because I feel like I haven't approached it correctly. And what I mean by it is the transition that we're currently through, because I was kind of like venturing into the unknown and I didn't really want to set anything in stone. But I think we reached the point where I'm kind of like ready to let you guys know what the future direction of this channel will be and why I've chosen to do what I've done, right? So buckle up, I guess. Sorry about the poor like webcam quality. Like I have a really good webcam, I think, and I have really good lighting too. I have the Elgato key light, but for some reason, even though I mess around with the anti-flickering stuff, I can't get rid of that flickering that you see right there. I haven't done a full screen recording in a while, and I feel like the quality should be better visually. So I think maybe I have to look into ways to improve my lighting and my setup or something, because I'm not really happy with the quality here. But at least, I mean, this is one of those videos where you can just tab out and just listen to what I have to say, because it's not like visually anything's gonna be changing besides me just rambling. So yeah, for those of you who are interested, great. For those of you who aren't, don't worry, tomorrow onwards the gameplay videos will continue. But this video is more than anything a message to my Legends of Runeterra based audience, and to Riot and all the developers and all the great people there as well. Because while I have talked about this on my Twitch streams as of late, and I have mentioned it quite a few times on Twitter, I've only made one announcement on YouTube, and that it wasn't a community statement, and I know a lot of people missed that. And I also did not like the wording that I chose for that kind of video. I'm just making sure that I'm recording. Because, you'd be surprised. I also got to close something here because, the problem is Steam is on. Yeah, I have to close Steam because I keep getting a bunch of notifications and they actually get in the way of like the OBS. So I don't really know. So I couldn't see. And I'm going on a weird tangent there. But this video is not really scripted. It's going to be pretty raw in that sense. And that's how I always like to do these update videos, because I feel like they're much more natural that way. Though hopefully I don't go around in circles too much. But as you guys know, we've been focusing on Marvel Snap as of late on this channel. And I just want to clarify that that's how things are going to be for the foreseeable future. Marvel Snap is the focus that it's my focus right now as a game. I've transitioned from doing full-time YouTube to going back to doing full-time streaming alongside YouTube, which is a shift that has had consequences without a doubt, because I've definitely grown into a bit of a comfort zone with doing the things that the way I've been doing them for like the past few years, right? So first off, I still love Legends of Runeterra. Legends of Runeterra is a game that has meant a lot to me. It's the game that really got my channel the next level of exposure and growth. And it's a game that I have absolutely adored to cover over these last few years. As a card game, as a collectible card game, with the transition from paper to digital, as a paper card game boomer as I am, I used to compete in Yu-Gi-Oh when I was a teenager. I played a lot of Magic the Gathering as well. Like I was a lot into TCGs, but then the internet era came and that changed everything. And with that, a lot of things have been rough for the card game scene, because I feel like the transition to digital has hurt certain aspects of it. But Legends of Runeterra provided us with a pretty fresh experience that gave us a lot of freedom with deck building. Like I could legitimately share different decks on a regular basis with Legends of Runeterra, and that is something that the majority of card games would not have allowed me to do. And I really enjoyed making content for it for quite some time. But ultimately, what happened is as grateful as much as I've loved the game, the design direction that it's taken since Call of the Mountain as an expansion onwards has more and more disaligned with my view towards, or what I liked about the game. I want to really clarify that a lot of what I'm going to say here is ultimately subjective, because it is limited to my perspective and my own personal preferences. So I'm not going to state this as an absolute fact by any means, because there are many people out there that prefer the game now as it is before how it was in the past, right? And their feelings are not invalid by any means, right? But from my perspective, a lot of things that I loved about Legends of Runeterra kind of faded away with the recent expansions, right, in the design direction. What do I mean by this? Well, I think the biggest fundamental problem for Legends of Runeterra as a card game moving forward, right, and creating new content and everything, was that it was compelled to essentially end up incorporating the entirety of the League of Legends champion roster, right? I'm not really sure how far away they are at this point, but they've added a lot of champions into the game. And several things, I mean, thinking back and analyzing it a little bit, I've realized, what my issue has been. Well, some aspects are more obvious because I have whined about it, as Reddit likes to say. Like, for example, the fact that we kept getting more and more champion packages that were predeterminedly designed to go together. And that champion combination was strictly better than any other mix players could come up with. And this applies to Azir Irelia. It really started with the Shurima expansion, because also we saw Lurk, right? Which is a pretty predetermined archetype. It's like one of the best examples of what I'm talking about here. Essentially, as a deck builder, I felt like I had less... what's the word here? Less agency, less control, less freedom, because of how strict these synergies were and how predetermined it all was. And the Runeterra champion concept was really kind of the final nail in the coffin for me personally, because I don't think it was properly implemented. And I feel like it made deck building even less interesting, because it essentially introduced many regions into the game, and that made it so that and a lot of times the vast majority of them weren't really very viable to begin with, because of how small the mini region they came with was at the end of the day, right? For the most part, it was still better to just actually get your hands on a full established it's called region, right? Like I think I'm not derping. Like a full established region, like you have Naxos or Demacia or Ionia, and you're better off mixing that with something else than to just take a Runeterra champion core. But that obviously it's not something that's set in stone. Like there's ways they can navigate around that limitation, and I'm not sure how things have changed so far. But I'm talking about past experience, right? That and the inclusion of Manifest as a mechanic, because I thought Invoke was fine, but Manifest added a very strong level of RNG into the game that I don't think quite fits Legends of Runeterra, because of the length of the games, and because the game goes back and forth all the time. There's a lot of prediction. There's a lot of potential for predicting what your opponent's going to do, and that becomes pretty much impossible when you incorporate all these Manifest mechanics that Bandle City introduced, but then that we've seen through the likes of Seraphine as well. And also the fact that a lot of the new champions were essentially coming with a new keyword. I think there were too many new keywords every time, which oversaturated, everything. and led to these insane levels of power creep that we've experienced with certain expansions, in which the entire metagame revolves around the new shiny card, but it does a little bit too much so, right? Or expansions in which the cards don't actually meet a good power level, and thus nothing really gets played and things remain the same. So that's a lot of things that happen with Legends of Runeterra. This is not a video. I'm not bashing. I'm not trying to bash the game here by any means. I'm just explaining how I felt about it and why I felt about it. Right. So over time, as you know, all these expansions came out and everything, I felt more and more burnt out. And as a human being, as a content creator, I felt the need to move on and try something else. But as niche as I am, because you know, being a card gamer is a pretty niche thing in the gaming world. It's not like I had that many options, and none of them really appealed to me more than Legends of Runeterra did. I tried Yu-Gi-Oh for a little bit, and I was even preparing like a series for it and everything. I still have like all this stuff. Like I'm thinking about something else to do with it, right? But I had all this plan to like really give Yu-Gi-Oh a shot, because Yu-Gi-Oh was like my first card game, right? And it felt like I was going back to my roots. And there's a lot of things that I liked about the modern Yu-Gi-Oh with like the chaining and everything. But the more I played, the more I realized just how problematic the state of the game is, how power creep has completely taken over. And yeah, let's just say I don't want to start card game World War III here, right? You know, if you like Yu-Gi-Oh, good for you. But I think it's a mess of a game that's fundamentally flawed in critical ways. And yeah, definitely not the alternative to Legends of Runeterra that I thought it was. So I bailed on that. You know, quite harshly actually. And now, you know, I went back to Legend of Runeterra. I was like, you know what, I can just keep doing this. And like I said, I don't hate the game by any means, but I've lost a little bit of that drive, of that passion, that sense of novelty, right? And the game just wasn't providing that to me with expansions anymore. A lot of times it was the opposite effect, really. I was kind of dreading them because they were always so... You know, they always shook things up in a not so good way, right? Not always, but you know what I mean. And those of you who've been playing Legends of Runeterra for a while will probably understand what I'm saying. But ultimately, that's where I was at. And then Marvel Snap came out, and I absolutely adored the game. It reminded me of my passion for Gwent, with a mixture of artifact as well with the location system. And it was mainly the location system that really just compelled me. And it's something weird to say as somebody who has been against certain types of RNG in card games, right? I've been pretty vocal against manifest as a mechanic, right? And you think, well, why do you like the randomness in Marvel Snap? Because the games are very short. And because that novelty, that chaos is what really makes it feel fresh every match. And it's a very, very different experience from Legends of Runeterra as a game. And it just felt like also like the game that I've been waiting for my entire life to stream, right? Because I think it's a really good game to stream, and I absolutely enjoy. I adore it. Like I love bantering with my audience and doing like the twerky thing, which I think fits the music so well. And I have a great time on streams. I don't know if everybody else does. You know, I'm not a psychic, but I at least have a blast. And I really enjoyed myself with it. And that's kind of like, you know, that's where I'm at. But having explained everything here regarding as to why I changed games, I want to clarify that I'm extremely grateful for everything Legends of Runeterra has provided me with. Like the people that I met, you know, the developers that I got to work with, and just what a fantastic group of people that has just treated me so damn well. I feel like, you know, it was an honor for me to do the voiceover for the World Championships, and I will be watching the World Championships, by the way, especially the finals. You know, and I wish the players and the casters the best of luck. The reason why I didn't opt to cast for the event, there was a schedule conflict, but honestly, it could have been worked around. The main reason why I didn't was because I felt like it would have been unfair for me to take the position over another caster, but potentially somebody who's coming up and rising up and could use the exposure and who is actually invested in the game. I think it would not have been fair for me to take over in that sense, and that's why I decided to back off this time. But I still, I'll get to enjoy it as a viewer because I've always loved watching and narrating over Legends of Runeterra, competitive tournaments, and I'll definitely be around for that. So Riot has been absolutely amazing. Like, they've treated me so well. And that hasn't always been the case. Like, not like it's not like I have any drama with like development companies that I've worked in the past, but it hasn't always been a positive experience. Riot and CD Projekt Red are the two that have really been just absolutely delightful. Like, I'm so grateful to have met everybody that I have in my time, collaborating with them, with their game. And I'm also super grateful for the communities that I dabbled into when I was covering both games. And it's just nothing but gratitude over here for them. And I wish them the absolute best. And I don't close any doors, I will be keeping an eye on Legends of Runeterra and seeing how it progresses over development, over time, and what direction they go in. And, I'll keep an eye on that. Like, I'm also going to be playing Duelist 2 soon, trying that out too. I'm really eager. Another game that I covered in the past that, just unfortunately died out, right? But a phenomenal game that I'm really, really excited to see what they do with now. And I'm just bringing all this up because as a content creator, I have dealt with a lot of criticism regarding, how I just switch up from one game to another. A lot of people just label me as this, like, this opportunist, right? Like, I go in, I play a game, I milk it dry, and then I get the hell out of there and I move on to something else, and I betray my fan base and everything. And as ridiculous as those sorts of statements are, at least from my perspective, they can be quite hurtful because I do feel like sometimes I have failed in communicating properly, and I have given off vibes that aren't really true. Like, I feel guilty about it, like I feel like I should have communicated something like this earlier, but I wasn't really sure how things were going to turn out. I was giving Marvel Snap a trial, essentially, like I did with Yu-Gi-Oh! A few months back, and I didn't know how it was going to end in that sense, so I didn't want to like make any statements or anything. I just kind of wanted to dabble into that and then do this video. But I really want to clarify that I've had nothing but positive experiences with Riot, with their developers, and I'm super, super grateful to have met them. And I think they're just awesome people, and they're great. And I don't say this just to make everybody feel better, because that's just not true. I pride myself on my honesty, for better or for worse. And like I said, it hasn't always been good. Like, I didn't enjoy associating with Wizards of the Coast, for example, and I don't care if it's dramatic to say, but I think they have a lot of issues as a company, and definitely not eager to work with them. Like, I don't think, I'm not a big fan. And there's been other companies as well that I've I collaborated with Valve, and I think they mismanaged the hell of Artifact, and I'll be the first one to say it. I don't mean to be disrespectful, but it's my channel, and I'm gonna share how I feel about things. So it's not always sunshine and rainbows. So that makes it more meaningful when I believe when I truly say that Riot and CD Projekt Red have been the best, and I just wish them nothing but the best. And that our time spent together has been really, really special to me, and something that I'll hold dear for the end of my days. And I just really want to clarify that. Like I said, my personal opinions and views on the game, the design direction, everything, it's subjective. It's just my opinion, and you can feel very, very differently about it, and that's completely fine. I'm not saying I'm right and you're wrong. It's just how I see it, right? But that's where we're at. Now I have a passion that I'm really focusing on, and that's where we're going to be headed. And I felt like making this video was important. It was a necessity, and I just really wanted to share. So that's that. The focus of the channel is going to be on Marvel Snap. I'm sorry for those of you who who aren't into the game. It's not for everybody. But But I really appreciate those of you who stuck around with me, you know, regardless of what I play. I appreciate those of you who are coming back to watch me because Legends of Runeterra wasn't your thing. I appreciate those of you who watch me for Legends of Runeterra and, you know, decide that you're ready to move on yourselves and watch something else. You're not really into Snap content, or you're tired of me. I don't know. Like, there could be many things. No hard feelings to anybody, and nothing but, you know, again, nothing but gratitude. I'm very lucky to be able to do what I do. But I also don't want to feel constrained. I don't want to feel like I'm in a prison and just have to commit to one game for the rest of my days. I just feel like my content is better when I'm doing what I want to do. And no matter what happens, I'm committed to keep things that way. I know there's a lot of content creators who shy away from diversifying or from doing other things. But that's never been my thing. And, you know, I know people say, oh, well, he jumps from one place to another. And I take that as a compliment. That means, you know, I do what I want. You know, I don't just constrain myself and force myself to play the same game again and 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 again for the sake of, you know, staying alive, relevancy-wise or financial-wise. And yeah, I believe that if the content is good, I'll manage a way to stay afloat. And that's really been my mentality. It's always scary to transition. As somebody, like, this is how I pay the bills, right? Like, it's not just, you know, oh, I'm going to play a game that I enjoy more. It's my job, right? So it's always scary to transition. And I want to make sure that I do it right, and that I don't close doors, and I just try to keep doing what I want to do, but also, you know, surviving as well, right? But I don't know, when people kind of like criticize me because of that, I don't really think it's something. I don't think they're looking at it to the right perspective, right? I don't know. That's just me. Because the life of a content creator, believe it or not, can be quite rough, especially for the middle class, such as myself. You know, like the big boys, oh, they're fine. They're earning the big bucks. I just make by, man. I just, you know, the moment I stop producing content, it's the moment I no longer can pay rent or anything, right? So, you know, I'm just a regular guy, and I just happen to have a bit of a weird job, I guess. But, you know, there's no, like, I got to keep going forward and figuring things out. And that's just where I'm at. So, yeah. But again, extremely, extremely thankful for all the time. And, you know, never say never. Hopefully this video, you know, did something, I guess, and clarify things a little bit. And, yeah, I'll be watching the World Championships for Legends of Runeterra. And I'm really, really eager to see who takes it all. And I'm excited to see Alan casting as well. You know, the former world champion. That's going to be fun. And I love you and appreciate you, everybody at Riot. Thank you for everything. Best of luck. And may we meet again. So, yeah. That's it, I guess. I'm surprised that we actually stayed under 25 minutes, to be honest. I thought this would be like a classic 40-minute update video, but I guess I'm getting more to the point. Maybe it comes with age. I don't know. But yeah, really appreciate you guys. Thank you for supporting the channel. Hopefully excited for what's to come. Always open to feedback. But more importantly, love ya. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video, I guess. And for those of you who just want to see gameplay, tomorrow onwards, we'll get back to the routine. And yeah, love ya. Have a soul day. Thank you for watching. I'll see you around.